Hello, it's Emma Mills here, and welcome to episode 158 of MiTV. And in this week's episode, I'm going to have you think about what would it be like if you have a completely clear calendar, a completely clear work calendar. So your business is operating, running, and in terms of week to week, your commitments of things you need to turn up to are practically zero. Because it's something that I've been thinking about, and it was my birthday a couple of weeks ago, basically, and I was 40, and ultimately, while I haven't had a midlife crisis or any kind of existential issues of where am I going and what am I doing, it without doubt makes you think about certain things. It makes you think about what you want to achieve, what have I already achieved, what would I like to improve on, what would I like to do in the next year by the time I'm 45, and so on. And you naturally have these kinds of conversations with yourself. And I've had these conversations a lot, actually, with my mentor, Martin Norbury, who I've spoken about a lot on here. And he said something that made me do a double take. And he's like, Emma, somebody that wants to grow their business, have a really successful, great business that runs without them, whether they turn up or not, will be able to have a clear calendar. So imagine if you open your work calendar now and your business is running, functioning, your customers are happy, your team know what good looks like, but actually in your calendar, there are zero commitments. What does that look like? And it really made me do a double take, because I very much get that a really great business leader is able to all of a sudden allocate their time to a new staff incentive project, or they might take the customer onboarding process and want to make it the best it can possibly be, or they might want to spend a whole month looking on new partnerships and strategies to get new customers. They should be able to do the big picture thinking. And I think that even if you have no necessary intentions to grow it so that you're not like doing in the business, looking at what your calendar might be like if it had zero things in it drives you to do some really smart thinking. And smart thinking is, people don't give themselves enough time to do the smart thinking. There's so many distractions with this and that, and you're kind of going from meeting to customer issue to customer review to staff issue to, it's a never-ending treadmill of keep going to the next thing. And most business owners are very, very reactive. But what would it look like if you were completely proactive in your business, that you were just able to spend your time on the things that really, really were going to make a difference? And I'm a big fan of making time to do the proper thinking in the business. And I think that question in itself, that if you look at your calendar over the next week, the next month, this year, what does it look like to have no commitments in there? And for me, that is ultimately becoming two questions that I ask myself every day. Now, just let me caveat, by no means have I not got an empty calendar, far from it. But what I do have is my time split in some very specific places. One of it is running the PA support side of the business, and the other bit is new inquiries. So currently, I take most new inquiries. My team do follow up, but I will have this discovery call. That is becoming a lot of time. So that's where my focus is split. So I do have a busy calendar, but I know that by really getting my PA to where I want to be, I need to be able to work on the big stuff, the stuff that moves us forward. And so it's a really great question for you to ask yourself every time, even if you just did it once on a Monday, or actually no, scrap that, Friday's a great time to do some good thinking. Friday afternoon, look at your calendar for the week ahead. And everything that's in there, what I am doing is I am asking, okay, what does it look like for somebody else to do X? So if there's a calendar appointment in there to have a one-to-one with a member of the team, what does it look like for somebody else to do that? Who else could do it? What does it look like, say there's a calendar appointment in there to onboard a new client. What does it look like for somebody else in the business to do that? So the two questions, every Friday, look at your calendar, and the two questions I'm asking myself is, who could do that in the business? So what kind of role, who would you need to employ? Like, who could do it? And two, what would be needed to do it? So what I mean by that is, if, say, for example, it's signing up a new customer and only you're doing it, what does that look like? Does it look like having a checklist of things to go through? Does it look like having a video for a member of the team to watch to understand what an onboarding session looks like? Does it mean that there needs to be a process so that somebody else can carry something out? Or does it just mean that the next time you do it, you record a video and somebody else can take it over? And I just think that if you take 10 minutes every Friday, look at your calendar for the week ahead and think, actually, who else could do this? And what does it look like for somebody else to do it? And your business will thank you for it, because it's time to do some really proper thinking, delving into not just being, because if you are, and I know I've been there as well, but if you spend all of your time reactive, you're letting the business happen to you, and you're reacting to customer requests, and you're reacting to staff grumbles or issues, or you need the time to be proactive. So I think there are worse things you can do than to ask yourselves the 2 questions of all the things that are in your calendar. Because ultimately your calendar is the window to your focus. If next week your calendar is back to back with, let's say, I don't know, new inquiries or staff one-to-ones, or you're not, nothing else is getting achieved other than those things in the calendar. But if your calendar looks like 90 minutes spent on a new customer onboarding process, or 90 minutes spent on a new marketing campaign, if you put the time in to focus on the big projects, your calendar is a mirror of what's going to happen in the business. If your calendar is chaotic, it's pretty reflective of what's happening in the business. If your calendar is much more measured and time spent to work on big stuff, I'm sure your business is very reflective of that as well. So I hope this week's episode gets your head out of the dirt and into the clouds to think through what's in your calendar now, who else could do it, and what does it look like to get them to do it. And I'll see you next week for episode 159. See you then. Bye-bye.